This week couldn't be any more exciting for comic book movie fans. Avengers Infinity War is right around the corner. So I've been in this extreme Marvel mode lately. I've been rereading stories from my youth. I've got boxes full of Marvel comics from the early 90s. So I've been digging through my collection, just rereading stories. I've been rewatching a bunch of the movies. I've been playing a bunch of Marvel video games. And as far as those video games, there was a ton of them back in the day. One of the games that I rented repeatedly was Marvel Superheroes War of the Gems, especially since it was an SNES exclusive Capcom platformer. And Capcom had already proven themselves to me with X-Men Mutant Apocalypse, which I reviewed on this channel. You could click this little banner right here in the corner if you'd like to check that out. But how does War of the Gems compare? The big Marvel Comics crossover event in the early 90s was the Infinity Gauntlet storyline, where Thanos, the Mad Titan, gets this: the Infinity Gauntlet, a weapon of ultimate power that can shape the universe and all of reality. First, he had to collect all 6 of the Infinity Gems and equip them. It was such an awesome story, and it was so impactful. And it's really what sent Thanos up all the way to the top of that food chain of dangerous villains. This is actually piggy bank too. You put the coins in right here. So if you find it online, pick it up. It's awesome. A lot of Marvel storylines were getting direct video game adaptations, and of course, the Infinity Gauntlet was translated into a video game too. The first one was Marvel Superheroes, a fast-paced Capcom 2D fighter that brought the Marvel heroes together to take down Thanos as the final boss. And then there's War of the Gems, the star of our show today. War of the Gems starts off with Adam Warlock explaining the gems and how dangerous they are, and someone's gathering them all. And why on earth are the letters so squished together here? I feel like they could have left just a small gap above and below the sentences to make them a little easier to read. And it doesn't help that everything's capitalized too. It looks ugly. But anyways, Adam Warlock knows he can't save the day alone, so he asks the Earth's heroes for help. Earth's mightiest heroes. Some of them. The Incredible Hulk, the Invincible Iron Man, the Amazing Spider-Man, the Savage Wolverine, and the Sentinel of Liberty himself, Captain America. I gotta admit, that's a pretty badass lineup, although I would have gladly accepted Thor into the mix as well. As always, Capcom games back then had a great soundtrack too. Just listen to that. The Infinity Gems have landed all over the Earth, and it's up to the Marvel heroes to retrieve each one. The character select screen is pretty much a copy and pasted layout of the X-Men Mutant Apocalypse one, with the option of choosing whichever character you want. But one thing that's really different here: in X-Men, each character was tied to a specific level, at least at the beginning of the game. Here you can choose your level, and then any character that you want to play through the level with. So it's refreshing having that newfound freedom. Let's take a look at the controls. That's it. Jump and attack. Easy enough. And each character has different special attacks that you can perform to just by pressing button combinations similar to their Capcom fighting game counterparts. Iron Man still got a smart bomb, Captain America can still charge with his shield. It feels great using these special attacks, but honestly, I never really felt like I needed them. The game's not nearly as difficult enough to require you to use them very often. I got through most of this game fairly easily by just punching enemies away. And as you play through the game, you also collect the Infinity Gems, and they're supposed to give you these special abilities, and with the right combination of buttons, you can use a super special move for each character. But for the freaking life of me, I couldn't get those moves to work, and I have never been able to. I don't know why. I looked up guides online that said that you have to press up, forward, down, plus attack. Didn't work. I tried it backwards. I tried all kinds of different ways. I looked up YouTube videos showcasing them that had the same instructions, and I still couldn't do them. I even looked at the comment sections of these videos, and they were filled with people that couldn't do them. So I know it wasn't just me. Oh well. I did try playing with all the characters evenly throughout the game so I can experience them all, and I can confidently say that Spider-Man and Captain America were my favorites, with fast combos, and Captain America even has the ability to juggle enemies in the air, which is always useful. Iron Man wasn't bad either. He wasn't much different than Cap, except he could shoot lasers. Wolverine I didn't choose much either, because he's the exact copy and pasted group of sprites from X-Men Mutant Apocalypse, same moves and all. Now, Hulk. I chose him in one level, and never again. I never like playing as big, slow characters. Sure enough, that's the Hulk in this game. It's just not fun to play as him, and he's so big that he's an easy target for enemy attacks. Let's check out the levels. Boston Aquarium. Here we go. What does an aquarium have a ton of? Water. And what's one thing I hate in video games? Water levels. This level sucks. This entire stage practically is underwater, and it causes you to move so slow. How is this fun? And to make matters worse, there's an air meter that starts running out while steel walls come down that you have to break open so you can keep walking ahead. It's a pain in the ass. And the enemies you fight, well, there's this little green troll with the letter P on him. Wait a minute, that looks just like Puck from Alpha Flight. It is. 99% of the enemies you fight in this game are just copies of the other characters in the Marvel Universe. And there's not much variety in them at all. That's one of the laziest storytelling / game design aspects I can think of. Clones. This level has evil pucks bouncing around that can get every bit as annoying as the flea men from Castlevania if you get surrounded. You also fight evil Hawkeye clones that do what Hawkeye does, and shoot arrows. And of course, evil Vision flies around. After suffering through gallons of water, you fight the boss. I wonder what dastardly Marvel villain we're gonna fight here. Maybe a water-based villain like Hydro Man, maybe a Tuma. Nope. You fight Iron Man. Iron Man. It means evil Iron Man. Couldn't they have just fit the word evil in there? I feel like there's plenty of room. But yeah, 2 Iron Man clones that have spiked shoulders and spikes on their head that have the exact same moveset as Iron Man. I can't imagine that required a ton of work from a game development point of view. Next stop, the Amazon rainforest. Here you'll meet more clones, like Clone She-Hulk, and all the other ones you've already seen. Walking in dangerous jungle water while jumping over random spike rocks while the evil Vision harasses you from above. And there's this really annoying section too with evil Hawkeye clones that are all over the place, shooting arrows at you in all kinds of different directions. And what jungle-themed boss could we possibly face here? Wolverine. Evil Wolverine. And he's green. I don't know what else to say. The imagination level here was just amazing. Alaska, which is apparently full of demon monsters running around for some reason. I have no idea who this character here is, but I can't think of any character that looks quite like this. I don't know. And snow levels are usually another type of level that I hate in platforming games because you always slip around on ice like an idiot, but thankfully, you don't have to face that shenaniganery here. The boss of this stage is Evil Sasquatch, and Sasquatch is another member of Alpha Flight, just like Puck. For those of you that don't know, Alpha Flight is the Canadian Marvel superhero team, which makes sense since you're in Alaska here, which is practically part of Canada anyways. And Dr. Doom's castle looks just like it should. And no surprise to anybody that knows comic books, it's full of Doombots. I actually really enjoyed this level, although it is really short, especially since you can be semi-cheap and pick Iron Man, taking the higher paths up in the air to the boss. I might be biased just because Dr. Doom is my favorite supervillain of all time. But let's see what lazy clone fight we have next. Maybe evil Spider-Man? Oh, Dr. Doom! Awesome. I'm glad to see him in here, since he has his hands in everything. Even in the Infinity Gauntlet storyline in the comic books, while everyone's trying to stop Thanos from destroying the universe, Dr. Doom was just trying to get the gauntlet for himself. He's a selfish dick, and the very definition of a supervillain. It's refreshing fighting a recognizable character, especially since there's so many clone characters in this game. Apparently, another supervillain called the Magus is the one collecting all the gems, an alternate version of Adam Warlock created by the Chaos and Order entities of the Marvel Universe. Not much to say about this level, just a giant spaceship in space with some robots. And I made the mistake here picking the Hulk. Again, he's big, he's slow, but it's also hard to dodge enemy attacks, especially in the smaller sized hallway because you're this giant target. And the Magus isn't very hard. He just kind of speeds around like the Flash every once in a while and he throws fireballs. Once you figure out the pattern, he can get his ass kicked without much effort. But oh no! Thanos was behind everything! And more gem locations are revealed. The Asteroid Belt. No idea how Spider-Man is breathing, but you know what? Comic books. This level's actually kind of boring, and it's really short. You just jump from rock to rock, avoiding space debris and making your way up, and then you just run into Dr. Doom once again, as a sub-boss this time. The real boss is Blackheart, and he looks awesome. He looks exactly like he did in the Marvel Superheroes fighting game. Spiky hair and all. He teleports to the ground and he throws little demons at you. Why a demon is in space, I do not know. Then again, Doom happened. So I guess it's possible. The Arizona Mining Complex. More clones, a generic warehouse-style level with conveyor belts, and the boss, evil Daredevil. That's a Daredevil doppelganger. These demons were just regular enemies up until now, and suddenly it's a boss? I can't even comprehend how they couldn't come up with better bosses in this game. And you would never know this was Daredevil, except the fact that, I mean, I guess it's a devil, and it has horns. And I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but it really is noticeable how lazy the character design was. There's this plethora, this rich collection of supervillains they could have chosen from in the comics. And this is what we end up with? Mount Vesuvius. In the world of Marvel, apparently it's a nightmarish landscape full of molten lava, which apparently is slightly lukewarm, as Captain America could step into it for a short period of time without suddenly bursting into flames. And I think it's kind of cool that Doctor Strange shows up too and gives you a surfboard to ride. I can't think of any other game at the time that had a Doctor Strange appearance, especially since back then he was like a C-list or D-list character. The general public had no idea who Doctor Strange was until the movie. And why a surfboard? Well, that's because Silver Surfer pops up, flying from the background to your position to hit you. Why? He's a superhero also, and he was even helping the other heroes against Thanos in the comic. But the goal here is to survive his attacks while you try to knock him off his board over and over, until he disappears, and then you reach Evil Thing. This one I didn't mind. At least it's a character that we haven't seen yet in this game, and he's not just a standard enemy they threw in as a boss either. He's an actual big Marvel character, even though, again, this is just a clone, but my point stands that it's not a clone we've seen 1,000 times in the game already. And as you beat him, Captain America throws his arms up in the air as he screams in pain, as he slowly burns alive. Egypt. It's Egypt. What can I say? A bunch of sand, a bunch of pyramids, tombs with secret traps, and it's obvious who we're going to fight here, right? I mean, a Marvel game in Egypt. Clearly we're going to fight Apocalypse. Also not surprising because we already have an Apocalypse sprite in the Mutant Apocalypse game that they could just simply reuse. And nope! Evil Hulk. My god, why not Apocalypse? It would have made total absolute sense. I would have much preferred that over this. He plays exactly like the Hulk, looks exactly like the Hulk, but with a shaved head. I can't. And then Nebula appears as the enforcer of Thanos, here to stop you before you can reach her master. Which is kind of ironic because here she's helping Thanos achieve his goals, whereas in the comics, he tortured her the entire time until she stole the gauntlet and tried using it against him. And here she is showing off her more cybernetic look that the Guardians of the Galaxy movies adopted, which I prefer anyways. I think she looks awesome like a cyborg. And she's pretty easy too. She just kind of fires a laser gun at you every once in a while, and then whacks you with her guns. The final boss, Thanos himself, using some of the same moves you see in the Capcom fighting games. He's kind of a bitch. He's the one boss that can block in this game, and he does it constantly. Especially when his health starts getting lower, it's rare when he doesn't block. You just have to hope that you can get your hits in every once in a while, maybe even a slight combo here and there, and then back away before he has a chance to strike back. But with enough perseverance, the Mad Titan could be put in his place. And the Marvel heroes saved the day. And that is Marvel Superheroes War of the Gems. Infinity War for the Super Nintendo. I know I had a lot of complaints about this game, but it really isn't a bad game. I can't go that far. It's actually really fun to play, and it has that 90s Capcom feel to it. But at the same time, the enemy design is so bland that it really takes away from the experience overall. Like I said before, they could have used hundreds of Marvel characters that we know and love, but we got clones. And the level design just isn't very exciting. Yes, the game is worth checking out and playing through if you've got an hour or two to spare or an emulator to load it up on, but Marvel Superheroes is a better Infinity Gauntlet game overall. And X-Men Mutant Apocalypse is a much better Capcom platformer. If you had to choose between these two games, go with X-Men. It's a much better experience. If you enjoyed this video, leave me a like and a comment down below letting me know. Don't forget to subscribe and follow me on social media. You can also check out some of my other videos or click my Patreon link if you'd like to support GamerThumbTV. This is Fabian. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.